See this episode's show notes for our unique promo code to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify, get helpful stats, and all the support you need to sound your very best.
Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 325. You are with your High Priest of Khonshu, Ray. G'day, everybody. I am back, and I'm here to give you another very tangential connection to Moon Knight for this episode. We'll be looking at, if you look at the up in the night sky, it's a waning gibbous. So that means we're doing a moonwalk. So that's Moon Knight, not in his run. And this time round, I've called it Superior Sliver. Might have something to do with the amount of screen time Moon Knight has in this issue. It is 2013's Superior Spider-Man Team Up #1 by Christopher Yost. So yes, welcome everybody. For those that do have access to the video, I'm slightly angled now. I'm trying to just work out some acoustics where I am. I'm up in an attic, and I usually talk straight into an angled ceiling. So I think acoustically it doesn't sound as good as it could. So I've just angled myself out to more project out in the open space. So hopefully we get a better result. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't tried that much, really. All I've done is move, 30 degrees east if straight ahead is true north. So we'll see how it goes anyway. Before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to our sponsors, all the Patroonies. Thank you so much for supporting the show. I mean, geez, we've been going on for quite a while now, 325. Sometimes I have to pinch myself, take a step back and go, wow, that's a pretty long session. I know we had an influx of fantastic Moon Knight material, and we still do, like, on a regular basis with comic books and some merchandise. But with the TV show, it was a real boon, I must say. Now things have kind of they've kind of steadied out, plateaued, if you will. We are subject to the phase of the moon. So the last few episodes we have had a waxing gibbous, a waning gibbous, which is the other side of the moon, a moon walk, that sort of stuff where I like to pick obscure Moon Knight comic book issues. So I feel I may have gone to the extreme in the sense that he is very fleeting in some of these issues. I'm not going to lie, but it's fun anyway. And I guess what I'm saying is stepping back at these amounts of episodes that we've done, maybe I'm just, between you and me, listener, maybe I'm just sharing a little here with the coming of our second little one. Quite a busy household. It is a little bit more difficult to try and find time to bring this out on a regular basis. So you may have noticed it slips a day or two here on either side of a week. So I do apologize for that. But I want to thank all the Patroonies. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. I mean, you're helping out heaps, and I just want to bring out really good content for you. So although some of these episodes may not be to your liking, may not include as much Moon Knight as you'd hoped, it still is Moon Knight related. Look, I want to cover everything that Moon Knight is in. So I guess if we do have to rip the Band-Aid off and do a couple of these issues where he's literally in maybe just a couple of panels, so be it. But I'm hoping you enjoy, these comics anyway. And it might be something that you want to explore a bit further down the line. So we're looking at Superior Spider-Man team up. Maybe it's something that you never would have considered reading. Hopefully by the end of this discussion, maybe it's piqued some sort of interest in you. So we'll see how we go. We'll see how we go on that one. But a huge thank you to the Patronis, and in particular our principal sponsors as well. Odin Sword, of course. Sean, thank you so much. Frank the Think Tank, you are a dude. I hope you're still listening. A big shout out to you. Much love to you as well. Mario Digicom. Mario, you are excellent. That is as much as I can sum it. Drew Toombs, of course. Drew, Drew, just to respond to you, because I may be lagging in some Discord messages. I will take you up on that. Let's get sheet-faced. That is with a double E. I haven't sworn. Drew, let's do it. Let's try and fit something in. I would love to have a Moon Knight cocktail with you. They were delicious. Oh, you've just got to ask Chad. Daniel doing as well. Daniel, I hope you're doing very well. Loving the Fringe Knight stuff. I'm so happy for you that it's all kind of working out. People that don't know, Daniel is releasing a figure of his creation, his indie comic book creation, Fringe Knight. So really, I urge you to check it out. I'm just going to have a look at my glass of wine here. I don't know why, Loonies. I'll tell you what. Up in this attic, I closed the ladder. I think I'm safe. I had a glass of wine the other night up in the attic, just watching, I think I was watching Sarah Connor Chronicles, Terminator, the Sarah Connor Chronicles. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Had a look in there, there were all these little fruit flies in my wine glass. What the hell? That was a waste of a good glass of wine. So I've just covered it. For those who have the video, I know it's a bit random. I'm covering it with a package of resealable bags, not a resealable bag. I'm covering it with a package of it. So hopefully those little fruit flies don't get in. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought already. Yes, of course, CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics from Schoenberg, Illinois. I'm hoping to, as much as I love our sponsors, a huge thank you to both of them, CLZ Comics and Dreamland. Love both of you. I am looking to refresh some of our sponsors. I'm just trying to refresh the show in some capacity. So anyway, huge thank you. That's a long-winded intro and a thank you to our sponsors. Thanking people is never long-winded, Ray. So shut up. I will, sir. So yes, why don't we go to a little bit of white noise now? Only a couple of things I want to bring to your attention, fair loony. On our social media platforms, you probably would have seen a big shout out to the likes of Mario and Rebecca, I think, for dropping in the latest preview pages for issue 22, which releases April 12th. So I do believe for general listeners, by the time you listen to this might be the day that it drops. So fingers crossed I get my editing done in time. Yes, the preview for it is out now. Look, I usually make a point not to read the previews or look at them, just because I like to be surprised and want to be refreshed. Actually, while I'm here, some of you may know I'm a big Valiant comic book fan. I love the Valiant universe, and they're fantastic. Don't get me wrong. More recently, they're a little. I must say, actually, Exo Man of War Unconquered. The first issue was brilliant. I loved it. Becky Cloonan, fantastic, and the art. I can't even remember who it was. Liam Sharp, was it? I don't know. Anyway, it was fantastic. They released too little. Anyway, where I'm getting to with this story is Valiant have a tendency that they, at the end of the comic, they'll give you like 5 pages, 6 pages of a preview of the next issue. I don't know. Does that float your boat, listeners? Let me know. For me, it doesn't. Like, I don't want, like, that's a good, what is it? It's a good quarter of an issue that you're getting revealed. Potential spoilers, I don't know. But yeah, that's something I prefer to steer away from. I like to, once I get the hard copy, once I get the floppy in my hand, I'd like to be able to open it up and read the entirety of it and be surprised, bit of shock and awe. Going through the first 6 pages, depending on how long it's been. Like for this, the preview, if you look at the previews now, and everyone's different, so I don't want to dissuade you or persuade you either, on either side. If you read it now, it'd still be fresh in your mind, and come the day that you get your floppy, you read it, you've already read the first 6 pages. Anyway, that's all by the by. I will put a link in the show notes. AIPT Comics, they always release previews. Go check it out if you want to. The second one it came about, just me haphazardly just trawling the internet with a fine mesh net, hoping to catch, not just minnows, hoping to bank myself a whale. And there's a rumor I thought was interesting enough. Any loonies, please follow up or comment on this if you can. The second series of Marvel Lego collectible minifigures apparently will have some Moon Knight action. So the article reads, and I'll read a little bit of it. The rumored second series of Lego Marvel minifigures could be full of characters that you may and may not recognize from a vast slate of shows. Reported to be arriving in September this year by Promo Bricks, the rumored second series of Lego Marvel collectible minifigures now has a full list of characters that are said to be included. And these are once more believed to be based on recent and upcoming Disney Plus Marvel TV shows. And they include the likes of Loki, Falcon and Winter Soldier, What If, and WandaVision. But it also includes a Moon Knight and a Mr. Knight alongside as well, the 2 Hawkeyes. So if you do want to add this to your collection, I do have a little, I ordered a custom Moon Knight Lego figure because I just, I do dig Lego. So it was really, it wasn't that expensive at all. I'm thinking of actually ordering a bit more. I'm playing with the little fella Finn, some Lego, and I love to role play like Marvel action scenes. Moon Knight goes really well there. So anyway, minifigures, go check them out. I mean, Moon Knight has been featured in minifigures before. I got one, what was that? 3 years ago, 4 years ago. So I don't think there's any shortage of Moon Knight being in minifigures, but if you want the TV version of them, then they will be made available September this year. Okay, no fruit flies in that gulp. Well, I mean that pretty much covers the white noise for this week. So let's go hit it up with our Moonwalk. And as mentioned, looking at Superior Spider-Man Team Up Volume 1, Issue 1, A Day in Someone Else's Life. Release date July 24th, 2013. Cover date September 2013. And we have writer Chris Yost, penciler David López, inker Andy Owens, colorist Rachelle Rosenberg. There's a familiar name. Letterer Chris Eliopoulos, and editor Stephen Wacker. And I did have. Let me just look it up. I did have where this is also collected in. So apart from the floppy, of course, which you can probably buy from third-party dealers or your local comic book store, which you should be going to first and foremost. It's available on digital. It's on Marvel Unlimited. That's how I read it. But it has also been collected in some things. Spider-Man Firsts trade paperback of 2014. Also been collected in Superior Spider-Man Team Up, the trade paperback called Versus from 2013 and 14. I think that probably does the first 6 issues. And then we have the Superior Spider-Man Companion trade paperback that was released in 2018. And there's also those red books, the hardcover red books that you get of Marvel characters. So in 2016 to 20, there was one based on Superior Spider-Man. I should have actually Actually, maybe I should. What I'll do, let me see if I can. Oh, no, don't worry. Well, that's it. I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to belabor it too much for those that don't have the video. So if I had not prepared it, then I have not prepared it. And we'll leave it at that there. Yes. And so what we'll usually do, actually, let's go into the covers right now first. So looking at the covers for this, of course, yes, there we go. Regular cover there by Paulo Rivera. Looking pretty cool. You'll see Spider-Man swinging down the likes of Hawkeye, Black Widow, Human Torch. You've got Falcon, Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, Spider-Woman as well. Remember, she features a bit in the Avengers and Captain America, all kind of, what do you call it? Abseiling down from a helicarrier, and there's Superior Spider-Man. I'll bring it into context for those that are unfamiliar with Superior Spider-Man. A very different Spider-Man, one that you're not probably used to, and the Avengers certainly aren't. The first variant cover is a blank variant cover, so not much there. It's just the title. This was during Marvel Now. So we're talking about, for Moon Knight reference, talking about the time Warren Ellis and the Declan Shalvey run was featuring, and then Brian Wood and Cullen Bunn later on. But this is just your blank variant. So I guess you go to your con and you get someone to draw out something on the front cover there. That's pretty cool. There is a variant cover by Humberto Ramos, who looks pretty cool there. All your Avengers piled up. You can also see the likes of Cloak and Dagger and Hyperion. They're piled up there with Superior Spider-Man on top of them. Then there's a retailer incentive cover by Paulo Rivera. It's basically a black and white version of the regular cover. We've also got a black and white incentive variant. It's called the Deadpool cover. So a little bit, I call it a little bit of cheating. It's a regular cover, but Rivera has drawn like Deadpool with a gun, and he's kind of looking on. He's in the foreground looking at Spider-Man and all the others kind of jumping down from the helicarrier. So, if this was all digital art, it's a simple matter of clicking on the layer, or obviously drawing the layer and then clicking it on. And then finally, there's the Deadpool variant as well. So it's a color version of that, which looks pretty cool. And again, pretty much the standard cover, but just includes Deadpool, his back of his head, two katanas, and a gun, a couple of guns he's holding as he looks up. I mean, why not? Deadpool's very popular, so why not include him? Yep. So for those that may not or are unfamiliar with the format of this show, or maybe after 324 times you've forgotten, let me remind you. What I'll do is I'll go through a bare bones, which is another name for synopsis, this time written and provided by Wiki. And then I'll go through on basically my overall impression of this issue, what I thought of it, and we'll go into then key aspects. And of course, one of those key aspects will be a mention of Moon Knight and how he plays, his perspective, his injection into the story. I'll speak about that before ending it with a rating from Konishu's rating system. Just checking for fruit flies again, nothing there. That's good. It's wet the gullet, ready to go. Yes, so why not? I'll just put that down. Why don't I share this for our fair viewers? Here we go. So this is 2013. So actually, my overall impression, I really enjoyed this. Depends on if you're a fan of the Dan Slott Spider-Man run. He was the one responsible for Superior Spider-Man. And again, for those that may not be aware of this iteration of Spider-Man, It was a massive thing. Dan Slott got death threats over it. I mean, you should never do that. Come on, fans. Don't ever do that. That's just taking it too far. Superior Spider-Man was when Otto... oh my God, I've forgotten his name. Dr. Ock. That's all I'm saying. What is Octavius? Dr. Otto Octavius. Yes. Oh, I forgot his name. Yeah, he might be to the wine. I don't know. He took over. He was dying, and he inserted his mind, his consciousness into Spider-Man, and he exchanged it. And so Peter Parker apparently went into the dying body of Dr. Octopus or Doc Ock. He died along with the body, and we have Otto in the Spider-Man suit and the Spider-Man body. So it's essentially your diabolical supervillain in the body of, one of his arch nemesis. So you get a very different Spider-Man here. He's a lot more, as you see, it's mentioned in the comics, a lot more arrogant. He befuddles a lot of the heroes. They don't really know what to make of him. And yeah, so all sorts of shenanigans ensue. But I really enjoyed this. I think Christopher Yost does a great has a great stab at writing Superior Spider-Man. He does really have that voice that Dan Slott established for him. And it was great to see. Who doesn't want to see? I know it might be a bit tried and true, but want to see heroes up against heroes. So you have the Avengers going after him because he's essentially... I haven't even done that. Oh God, I haven't even done that. He's essentially beating up on superheroes. Listeners, I haven't even done the synopsis, so the bare bones. So let me do that first. I mean, that would probably make even more sense if you want a backdrop. Apologies, I was just so excited to get into it. All right, here we go. This is for Superior Spider-Man Team Up, Issue 1. An organised group of criminals attempt to maul a couple in an alley, but Cloak and Dagger soon arrive. Before the duo can fight them, Spider-Man arrives, causing the criminals to run. Cloak shouts at Spider-Man as they had the situation under control, but then Spidey punches Dagger. Later, Spidey is seen fighting Daredevil. Seeing this on the news, Captain America informs the other Avengers that Spider-Man must be taken down for his recent attacks as well as his abnormal behaviour over the past several weeks. In the meantime, Spider-Man is seen going after Gravity, Luke Cage, Iron Fist and Ant-Man, each time with a big gun slung over his shoulder. The Avengers then arrive and start to attack Spider-Man, with Hulk and Thor eventually restraining him. Spidey tells Iron Man to not open his faceplate, but it is revealed that Stark is not even in the armor. Just then, Hyperion destroys the armor. Spider-Man reveals to the Avengers that Hyperion is possessed by Carrion. Carrion has been jumping from hero to hero in order to conquer with a hero's body, which is why Spider-Man was attacking the other heroes. Spider-Man must shoot Hyperion if Carrion is to be defeated. He and the Avengers fight Hyperion, but they don't trust Spidey to fire the gun, as they think that the blast will also kill Hyperion, which is what they think Spidey wants. Spider-Man says it won't, and Cap gives him permission to use the gun. Spidey fires, defeating Carrion and saving Hyperion. Though he has regained his trust in the Avengers, Spider-Man still does not see them as allies. He needs to have his own team, and it is revealed that he has captured several Sinister Six members in order to achieve whatever plan he's thinking of. Meanwhile, Carrion is talking to the Jackal about some plans. Their first step: kill Spider-Man. Yes, so there we go. I jumped the gun a little, but that probably gives you a little bit more context. That's probably the reason why we do bare bones, Ray. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell. I think that was kind of succinctly retold there by whoever wrote it into Wiki. So going back, I really enjoyed it. I think it was really great to get an insight again of trying to really establish Superior Spider-Man and the point of difference. And I felt that Yost does a good interpretation of how the Superior Spider-Man would act towards other heroes, as well as how they will take him as well, because they're trying to still figure him out. I mean, for all intents, he's still the Spider-Man that they know, but he's absolutely changed. So, they're trying to figure it out too. There were a couple of things as well whilst I was reading it that I did realize, which was a really nice touch by Yost, and I'm going to say it now before I forget, but we have this thing with Otto taking over the Spider-Man body. That's the whole thing. That's a whole Superior Spider-Man angle. And so I kind of liked it how it was echoed with the carrion virus or carrion possessing or taking over hero bodies. So it's kind of ironic that Otto is... he's really quite heroic still. He wants this thing to happen. And this is the first issue. I don't know the context of it. I don't know why he wants to stop this carrion virus, but he's doing a heroic thing. But it's ironic that he's doing it because of this villain, possessing superheroes. This is the exact thing that he has done with Spider-Man. It may be for different motives, of course. He did it because he was dying. I mean, it was his last resort. I don't think in any given day he would be yearning or wanting to be in Spider-Man's body. Although later during the whole run, you find out that he does find it quite liberating to have these powers and to have a young, youthful body. So he certainly does come around to actually enjoying inhabiting Spider-Man's body. But yeah, there's that irony first and foremost that I thought was pretty cool. The first aspect I thought, the first point for this, I will put it as Superior Spider-Man beating up on heroes. So this is what a great way to kind of start it, and what a great way to have us mistrust him a little, because at this stage we don't know why he's doing it, let alone the heroes. So it opens up in New York City, as mentioned in the summary, about Cloak and Dagger looking very opposite. Must I say, I know they're always contrasting, but we've got Cloak in the white and Dagger in the black this time round. And anyway, not only does Spider-Man jump in to, you assume, to help these hapless civilians that were being harassed by this team. What do they call themselves? I think we do. They're just like, they've got Mexican wrestling masks on, and they've got money signs on their back. So they're part of a gang. They don't need the money. They just want to terrorize. But we have Spider-Man jumping in. Cloak says, "What are you doing? We've got to control." And he punches Dagger. So that's immediately get you off kilt. What is happening? This is not how Spider-Man operates. And he's quite silent as well. We know that Spider-Man's quite quippy. In this instance, he's quite silent. I've got to mention right off the bat now here as well, before I forget, David López on art. So this was 2013. It's good art, I must say, but it's not the art that I've come to associate with David López. He really has come into his own. If anything, the most similar kind of David López art that I know of today is in this kind of panel here. There's a panel where Superior Spider-Man is punching out Dagger. That pretty much is the closest thing to López art. Everything else is quite different. It's a little bit more stylized, if I can say stylized, in like less textured, but it's still very cool as well. And anyway, we also get, as I said in the synopsis, in the bare bones, Spider-Man attacking Daredevil. So again, as a reader, you think, what is going on? Like, aren't they buddies? That sort of stuff. So we're really getting this establishment of Superior Spider-Man being someone different. Bearing in mind that this is an issue 1 as well. So if you haven't been following the Dan Slott run, you haven't been following Superior Spider-Man, then you've got no idea who this Spider-Man is. So this actually is, in a way, a really good jumping on point, because you get to figure out, what's happening with Spider-Man and his behavior. So I thought that was really cool. I mean, that was a really good opening. It set the tone as well, and it's not long before we get Captain America and the Avengers kind of jumping in, trying to find out what is going on. Now, pardon me, just one moment. My next point was, I was on, through this, I think it's through this, we do get a bit more of we get a little like catch up, a little lesson. If you don't know, as I was saying, if you're new to this character, you get a really quick kind of 101 on him. He's been antagonistic. That's what Captain America has been saying, arrogant, belligerent, that sort of stuff. It did escalate. He killed a supervillain called Massacre, and he savagely beat a couple of like prankster villains. It's called harmless pranksters. Sorry, Screwball and Jester. So it's really a little bit of a backstory on how he's very different. And the Avengers had a previous run with him as well. Like they tried to bring him in. They reckon that it's Spider-Man regressing in some way because of a recent death of an ally. And there's also talk or mention of the events in Shadowland. So it's a nice little tie-in as well into the current of that time kind of events happening around there. I can't remember who the death of the ally is for Spider-Man. Then if anyone can let me know, please do. A little shout out there. We see Wolvie. I love this Avengers lineup here. We had Captain America, Black Widow, Thor, Spider-Woman, and Wolverine. How cool is that? Anyway, so so we get his checkered past. I thought that was an important thing to kind of establish as well. This is an issue, again, issue 1, so we're setting it up, but it's also a potential introduction to people coming into the character. Just thinking, yes, this Superior Spider-Man team up, it is strange as it is. Not your kind of orthodox team up in the sense that I didn't feel like a team up to me. I mean, he eventually teamed up with the Avengers to fight Hyperion, but that all kind of came about kind of more organically. It wasn't like your conventional team up. Anyway, no marks off for that. Not at all. But I just thought I'd point that out. So, I mean, Captain America, who comes up to the conclusion that they've got to take down Spider-Man. Now we are heading towards Moon Knight's appearance here, his involvement here. So the next few pages, we do get a few, like some quick takes on Superior Spider-Man meeting up with, I've never heard of this guy, Gravity. He must have been a hero. I actually thought he was a villain, but he looks more like a hero. We don't know. I love this touch as well by Yost. We've got Superior Spider-Man holding this big-ass gun, and he points it at Gravity after capturing him in a web. And you don't see anything. So we find out later that he probably has shot the gun and has done its thing, and he's found that Gravity is clean. So then that's why he kind of swings away, and Gravity's just left wondering what the hell just happened. He thought he was about to get blown away, which we thought he probably would have as well, because we've seen him beat up Daredevil, we've seen him punch Dagger. So I like this kind of thing that Yost is building in this mystery that is Superior Spider-Man. But here we go, the money shot, loonies, what you've been waiting for. Then we get in one quarter of a page, we get Superior Spider-Man doing his thing. He's going through a lot of superheroes. He's going through Iron Fist and Power Man. Again, later we understand that he's testing them. He's trying to detect the carrion virus, but All we know is that he's fighting them. He fights again. This is a hero that I do not know. Sun Girl. Anyone can please put their hand up. Let me know who Sun Girl is, or I can just Google her on Fandom or Wiki. But I've never heard of her. She looks pretty cool though. She's almost got like a wasp vibe, but her wings, dare I say, because she's called Sun Girl, are probably made from elements of the sun. I don't know, because they're glowing and they look white hot. But you have Superior Spider-Man there using, we've seen it before, remember his dog Ock. So he uses like almost the Iron Spider, the legs kind of emulate the Doc Ock, Dr. Octopus tentacles. But he's using that, he's pointing the gun at Sun Girl, and she's pointing something back at him as well. Then here we go. I'm going to get onto my 2-hour dissertation on Moon Knight because he's appeared in, what is that? 9:50 a.m. So, mid-morning, people are having brekkie, having brunch, that sort of stuff. We get Moon Knight looking very different. I'm about to say this obviously came in before the Warren Ellis, Declan Shalvey run, because we don't get that black and white armor. He's very much more in that traditional all white. He's got a gold belt on. He's throwing some crescent moons at Superior Spider-Man, and he manages to successfully snap the web line. That's the extent of it. Sorry, folks, but we do get a title of him down at the bottom left. We don't know how he fares. He might have been something similar to Gravity. Superior Spider-Man probably points a gun at him, finds out that he's clean, and then just swings away. But that's it. I can't dwell any longer on Moon Knight. Drawn well, cape flowing, mid-air battle, so it's quite dynamic. It's not like he's just, I don't know, just standing on the street. So looking pretty good from the perspective from quite up high. We see the traffic down below. I think that's all I can say really. But there he does appear. There he is in all his glory. And below that as well, in the fourth panel, we get, again, this is really weird. As a first time reader, not knowing Superior Spider-Man, he's taken on Doctor Strange, and he just dealt him a haymaker. He's drawn blood, similar to Dagger. He manages to clock Doctor Strange. I don't know how he got away with that one. I mean, seriously, what, does he just run away after that? Because how do you defeat Strange, or how do you, I can't imagine that fight would last any length of time. It continues on as well. We get the Baxter building, and we get Superior Spider-Man taking on Miss Thing. Oh my gosh, I've got to try to remember her name. I can't remember it. It's Isn't it Thundra? I think her name is. Is it a Sharon as well? I think it's a Sharon. I feel it is. She had the Dr. God, I'm missing his name. Not Morphus. What's his name? Dr. Dorcas? The guy with the super serum. The guy with Demolition Man. This is why I need a co-host. I can't remember off the top of my head. You're probably shouting at it as you are listening to this. Anyway, it's Sharon. The Thing from the Fantastic Four in the Thing suit. Also, Spider-Man is fighting Medusa. What the heck? How can he? And She-Hulk, of all people. This looks like from I think it's the Matt Fraction. Is that right? The Matt Fraction run of Fantastic Four. Just looking at She-Hulk's Fantastic Four suit and Medusa's as well. People are looking on. They're all kind of scared. There are moloids and a couple of people from the Future Foundation, and we get Scott Lang, who Otto grabs, and you think he's going to do something. He throws him towards the Human Torch, but again, he must have been clean. Same with everyone else in the room, so you assume that Superior Spider-Man just waltzes away. We see him coming on the rooftop, and he scans, and he wants to gain access to all the bot cameras and to have them up as visuals on his lens, because he's on a mission. He's doing this whole thing he's going through all the heroes, but it's at this stage that the Avengers. What a great hero shot here. And again, look, nothing wrong with this art, but if you look at this, this is a splash page compared to like later David López's artworks, which are phenomenal. I love them. He did some stuff in Batman and Superman. He did the Defenders run with Brian Michael Bendis. He's done countless things, and it just looks so. I'm a fan of López. But this is 2013. Very different style. I know a lot of artists go through an evolution as they draw, but it's interesting to see a difference in López's art. Having said that as well, though, the Spider-Man, Superior Spider-Man, looks awesome. I love the black and red suit. I love the design. He's got the very distinct eyes. They're not like the white eyes. They're kind of a glossy lens, a reflective lens that is very distinct in this particular Spider-Man. But in this instance, all the Avengers are here. Thor, Black Widow, Captain America, Hawkeye, Hulk in a weirdo costume, Hyperion, Captain Marvel, and Iron Man. Well, Iron Man's bot, as we find later on. My other key aspect was the Avengers battle, which is not too long. I mean, he tries, Otto, but he's up against the Hulk and Captain America and Thor, let alone Hawkeye and Black Widow. So he hasn't got much hope. And he got Hyperion in the background. But yeah, that was a little battle. But and it's basically the Avengers going, what's going on here, Spider-Man? But this is the reveal, and this is the big aspect here. This is the reveal of the carrion virus, the virus that Spider-Man is saying to Iron Man, don't open your faceplate. You could be infected. Keep that thing closed. Iron Man reveals that he's not there. There's just like not a teleprompt. There's a monitor of him. It's just a robot. Thankfully, though, because as you see, we get a first-person perspective of scans Black Widow, Cap, Iron Man, Carol, and Clint. They're all clean. At the end, though, we get Hyperion, and he isn't. And then he has this weird face, which is actually the Carrion face, infected, danger. And Carrion immediately destroys Iron Man, and he goes on a bit of a rampage. And this was my other aspect. This was fun. You gotta balance comic books, I think, in superhero comic books at least, with a little bit of titillation, a bit of action, coupled with like character development and story and drama. So Yost injects this in. This is cool because Hyperion is, one of the stronger ones, isn't he? And he takes out Thor and Carol. Hulk, I don't know what he does to Hulk. He just shoots him a couple of times with his eye beams and Hulk disappears. And then all of a sudden it's just down to Cap and Hawkeye. A few things lost in the battle there, but back in the, if I'm going to be old man Ray, back in the 80s or 90s, we would have seen this battle in detail. We would have gone through each one of them in detail and understand why it's just Cap and Hawkeye left. But anyway, Hyperion is there. Hawkeye, Captain America is the one, actually. He throws a smoke bomb. Or the bomb, shall I say, because it explodes. Thor eventually kind of lightning strikes Hyperion, and the Hulk comes back and smashes him as well. So does Carol. So there's a lot of toing and froing here, but I love the vision of Carrion, his face, as he kind of flickers over the face of a Hyperion. And this is the big moment because, again, this whole issue was built on, do we trust this guy or not? Because he's attacking superheroes. He's a little bit less he's a lot less likable than your traditional Peter Parker or your traditional Spider-Man. But Cap makes the call. He trusts him. I don't know. That is a big call. Otto could have just done anything, but he does do what he needs to do. And as he says, with the gun that he fashioned in 17 minutes, he's managed to dissipate the carrion virus out of Hyperion, which is pretty cool. So Hyperion's back to normal. And anyway, which is fantastic. Like they do apologize. Cap does. I owe you an apology. I shouldn't have doubted you. I love Superior Spider-Man's response about your probation. And he goes, probation? Oh, were you serious about that? Adorable. So Otto is just being the kind of arrogant, egotistical person that he is, and he zooms off and flies away. A couple of other things for the big aspects which were mentioned in the bare bones. We get Superior Spider-Man saying, it would be good to be in a team, especially if you have big hitters like, Hulk or Thor. But he goes, I'm not going to be part of their team. Just, I'm not keen on that. And we see a shot of I love it, the likes of Sandman, Electro. Who else have we got there? Vulture, Mysterio. There's another person at the end there. It doesn't look like Craven at all, or Hobby, or any of the other Sinister Six. So, that's it. It's pretty cool. And we finally get an epilogue as well in true. It's 2013, so the post-credit scenes were totally a norm. It was in vogue, and we get a reveal of the Jackal, basically. Carrion returning. I love Carrion too. He's in. I've never seen him in much. I first saw him in the Marvel Handbook, official Marvel Handbook. Oh, the official handbook of the Marvel Universe. The comic book versions. I collected them, and I collected the issue that had Carrion in it, and I read him. And he just looks so cool. It was kind of like a disease-ridden superhero that touched things and they kind of withered and stuff. He seemed like a very dangerous villain and kind of in rags. He's got like a little satchel that he carries around. Used effectively, I think, in the Slots run. He does use him in the Clone Conspiracy, or one of the conspiracies or the Clone Sagas. But speaking of Clone Sagas, the Jackal as well, very synonymous with cloning and the likes of Scarlet Spider, Ben Reilly, and we do get that in this team up coming up, because the next issue features, it's shown there at least, so that's Kane. But we won't get to that. That's another issue. But there you go. How do I remove this thing from the video? There you go, loony listeners. That was Superior Spider-Man team up. That was quite fun, I thought. Now I should get the prompt sheet here. Let's see the rating. So, I gave this a solid 7.5 out of 10 as first issues go. I really enjoyed it. I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Again, depending, it might be quite divisive whether you like the Superior Spider-Man, whether you like Slot's run. I felt the character Superior Spider-Man is a strong one, and you see him later on in the likes of Spider-Verse. He plays a big part in that, and he's just turned into a character unto his own self, and it can be done, because remember, Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, there's just so many different versions, so he's just one of them. I really enjoyed it. I think the art was great. It's not the... Hang on. What have I got here? Have I got this wrong? Don't tell me I've got this wrong. Is it Chichetto? Even then, I mean, Chichetto's, it looks different. Oh no, pencil's David López. Yeah. It is David López. I thought so. Sorry, I just saw the cover to issue 2 and it said Chichetto. So I thought that maybe Chichetto had done this issue, but he hasn't. It was really cool. I really enjoyed it. As by way of, for doing a rating of Moon Knight's appearance, I'll have to give it a 1, like I did last time when I had Kaya on as a guest co-host and we did the Black Panther issue. Just for the fact that it was really just a fleeting appearance. It's not worth, probably not worth. If you're a completionist, you probably still want it, but it's really not worth it. If you're a big Spider-Man fan, then pick it up, of course. but yeah, it's as one of the loonies said, I think it was Chris. A big shout out to Chris Sheepdog Shepherd. He said, sorry to burst your bubble because I put up the discussion thread. He said, it's only one panel and he doesn't even speak. So, in a nutshell, that kind of summed it up. So I'll leave it up to you, Loonies, if you find any worth in getting it or at least reading it. I'm glad I've read it now and saw Moony in it, but it really there's no meat to those bones at all. A big shout out also as well to Blake Buxton, Looney Blake Buxton as well. He it sounded like like myself, had not read the issue, and he said he ended his post saying good luck, and saying, well, we don't see Moon Knight on the cover, so I'm a bit wary, but good luck. I hope you have a good discussion. I think that's what he was saying. So huge shout out to Blake there. So for all your kind words. Looney listeners, that wraps up this iteration of Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. Spectacles, what should I say? I had something on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember it now. So it mustn't have been that important. But next phase, episode 326. Fingers crossed, it's not that far away, actually. Hopefully it will be by the end of this week. Fingers crossed. I'll have to touch base, hoping to have the other High Priest, Rebecca, back because, as mentioned, we'll have Moon Knight issue 22 by Jed McKay and Alessandro Cappuccio to review. So I'm looking forward to that. That's as I record this, it's out in a couple of days. So can't wait to get into some new material. As always, we will live stream that. For US listeners, sorry, it might be a little bit early in the morning, but if you can make it, would love to hear from you, love to see you. But you will be live streaming that across all our platforms as always, as well as releasing a podcast version of it. As always, as I mentioned, Patronies, thank you so much for your support. A big thanks to Odin, Frank, Daniel, Mario, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Josh, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Drew, Matthew, Jonathan, and Dan. And you too can become a Patreon member on patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. I might even have some stuff here. Anyway. Also, as mentioned, sponsored by Odin Odin Sword, Frank, the Think Tank, Daniel Doing, Drew Toombs as well. So thank you, each and every one of you. I can't wait to hopefully collaborate with you down the track, Drew. Looking at you. Let's get sheet-faced. And as well, CLZ Comics, collectors.com and Dreamland Comics. Use the code MOON and get 20% off their online store as well. Where you can find us, you can email us at feedback@itkmoonnight.com. I did receive an email, I'm glad to say, but I think it was a bot. I think that robot was trying to sell me something, but happy to receive your emails, Loonies. I know it's an antiquated system. Even post something to me. Yeah, I know we always joke about it, but please do. I'd love to get post. Website, itkmoonnight.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Again, the important handle is ITK Moon Knight or at ITK Moon Knight. So, for instance, Twitter, a handle is at ITK Moon Knight, and YouTube is youtube.com/@ITK Moon Knight. Finally, we are part of the collective, some fantastic shows. I want to give a shout out to Gamma Charge, the strongest podcast there is. Russell's doing some great stuff there. A big sad farewell. It's coming up. I don't think it's here yet, but a huge farewell to Tomes of Evil, Russell's first podcast. Fond memories of that show. It was fantastic. I mean, Russell's gone on to do many, many things. But yeah, a big salute and a 12-gun salute and a shotgun wedding for Tomes of Evil. It's a fantastic episode. If you can, I mean, it's probably all available still in back catalog or back issues or whatever, back episodes. Go check it out. But we have also the likes of I'm going to give a shout out to Ghost Spider Groupies, Pax and Abigail doing great stuff there about Spider-Gwen. I'm going to shout out my own as well here. The other thing to know her is to fear her, because can't talk about Ghost Spider without talking about Jessica Drew, the OG Spider-Woman. Go check it out. Also, Resurrections, Thanos and Adam Warlock podcast there. Fantastic as well. Love them. And Collective Adjacent, I want to give a shout out to Capes and Lunatics too as well. Don't get me wrong. They're doing fantastic stuff. Capes on the Couch. Love those guys. Yes. So anyway, thank you so much, Looney listeners, for sticking with it. I'll be back in a few days, hopefully with Rebecca. If not, maybe over the weekend or something. I'm hoping that our schedules will align. I know Rebecca's been doing some great and wonderful things. I've got to catch up with her. It's been too long, but she looks like she's been doing a lot of fun stuff. But until then, as always, may Conchi watch over the denizens of the night. Catch you later.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.
Hello, I'm Anthony.
And I'm Dr. Issues.
And we're hosts of Capes on the Couch, the podcast where comics get counseling.
Superheroes don't always get to go home happy. That's where we come in.
We offer psychiatric and mental health analysis of comic book characters.
So check us out at capesonthecouch.live and across all social media platforms at Capes on the Couch.